Shalom, shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakahak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well, taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim, preaching this word with truth and sincerity around the four corners, like Elder Malcolm would be saying, risking their lives and freedom to do so. Peace and salutations to the Akim and the few Akwath, the true believers of the hopeful elect. And like Elder Malcolm would be saying, peace and salutations, shalom to the Israelite foreigners. The Israelites that live amongst the heathen and also that look like the heathen. Shalom to y'all as well. Just coming back in the spirit and theme of prophecy. And I was watching the elder brother Yaiquab. What's his name? His YouTube handle is GMS Isaiah 34:16. That's his YouTube handle. So you should subscribe and be edified. I got a couple of articles that I want to speak on concerning Russia and Babylon, aka America. Try to make this quick, straight and to the point. And the writing's on the wall. America's done. Russia is about to move in for the kill. The other nations is going to join Russia, so on and so forth. And you heard it from the apostles and elders of Great Millstone on down here first. So I'm gonna read the articles, hit a couple of precepts, and Lord's willing, this to be edifying. Alright, the first article I got is from RT News. I believe they're both from RT, but it says Ruble is this year's performer. Bloomberg. I guess that's from Bloomberg. It says the Russian currency has posted strong gains against the US dollar and has outshone gold, data shows. So I believe this is the Russian currency. This is what the currency that Russia uses, the ruble. Not to mention that you also have that Russia is also part of BRICS, and they have a payment system because they're trying to decrease their usage and trade in US dollars, which in return will make the dollar less valuable, which is already happening as we speak. And the results of that is going to be hyperinflation. We're already in the stages of inflation. That's why eggs is like $6 to $10, well, $8 to $10 a pack. Fruit is expensive, not to mention the tariffs that President Trump put on these other nations, and the other nations are clapping back. That's why I me speaking as a man and studying and measuring the time diligently, fruit is expensive, and everyday necessities like toiletries and food that is only going to go up. I believe milk is like $6 a gallon, $7 a gallon. Gas is going to go up. Just because gas is affordable or it hasn't gone up in recent weeks, people don't seem to care, because they could gas up their car, they could fuel their car and get from point A to point B. But that's going to come. That's going to come to naught soon, as these tariffs are imposing a heavy blow on the American consumers. You know. But not to get off topic. Let me read a little bit of this. It says the Russian ruble has emerged as the world's top performing currency this year. So let me cross the street. Outpacing even gold, Bloomberg reported on Tuesday, citing calculations based on over-the-counter market data. The ruble has surged 38% against the US dollar, making the strongest gains of any currency so far this year. It has also outperformed gold, long seen as a safe haven asset, which has risen 23% to record highs since January. What's going on? Good morning, good morning. It says analysts cited a combination of geopolitical developments and monetary policy decisions by the Bank of Russia as key drivers of the ruble's performance. You see? So, you know, me personally, I don't believe that that's by chance. I believe that it was scripted for that to happen. You know? Salaki, I'm crossing the street. You know, all of this just points as dire consequences for what's his name? For America, you know? I gotta check the Monex again. The last time I checked it, it's what is that? The spot price, the spot for gold was like $3,200, yo. Like, you know. And for silver, and for silver, it was like $32.43. I gotta check it again, see if it rose any. You know, Apostle Tahar did a video on it. That's where I got the Monex from. So now I try to check it every day or every other day. I ain't check it yet. I'm gonna check it. Matter of fact, Salakia. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, you see, gold as of today is $3,328, and that's the spot price. And silver is $32.43. See? You see the chart right there, updated 4/21. That's today. We're in real time. You know? Hold on, let me cross this street. Yeah, so as you can see, for the ruble it said it outdid the gold. So that, you know, that's big. That means Russia's economy is strong. You know. Let me read a little bit more. It says other economists pointed to high borrowing costs. In October, the Bank of Russia hiked its benchmark interest rate to a record 21% to curb inflation and has held it steady since. Experts said the move dampened demand for imports and, by extension, foreign currency. Meanwhile, regulations requiring exporters to convert a portion of their foreign earnings into rubles, a measure introduced in response to Western sanctions, have further strengthened the currency, they noted. Yeah, you see? So Russia's making moves to strengthen their currency. And in result, America's currency is going to diminish. You know, and to be perfectly honest, it was written that way. It says analysts also cited improved U.S.-Russia relations spurred by joint efforts to resolve the Ukraine conflict as boosting foreign investor interest in Russian markets and the ruble. It says Iskander Lutsko, the head of research at Ishtar Capital, said international investors are increasingly turning to countries that maintain ties with Moscow to access high-yielding ruble assets. He also predicted that the conditions currently boosting the ruble are likely to persist for some time. You see, so the ruble is gaining momentum. This is bad news for the U.S. dollar, because the U.S. dollar is getting weaker by the day. Because, you know, if you know anything, the U.S. dollar is not backed by gold or silver. You know, it's a fiat currency. So it has the value that people say it has until it doesn't. You see? That's why if you ever watched, I believe it's in that movie I Am Legend with Will Smith. You know, he had a stack of money. There was a scene where he had a stack of money that he was using to burn to keep warm. That's what people are going to do. That's what it is. Federal Reserve notes are just pieces of paper that say IOU. They're a bunch of IOUs. You know, it's not real money. That's why if you can afford it, your best bet is to take your Federal Reserve notes and find a gold and silver dealer, near you, and convert your Federal Reserve notes into gold and silver if you can afford it. Well, really silver, because I don't believe any working man can afford gold. You know, 1 ounce is $3,300, like $3,328. You know, so like Apostle Tahar said, silver is the poor man's gold. So if you can afford it, you know, invest in that. And if not, just trust in the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son. You know, trust in the Lord. I'm going to leave this link in the description box. Matter of fact, let me get a quick precept. The precept that comes to mind is James, the 5th chapter. As a matter of fact, not James. It was James, the 5th chapter comes to mind, but really Isaiah 47th chapter, and you see the heading, it reads Lament for Babylon. It says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground. There is no throne. The daughter of O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. You see? So it's time for we're in the time and season where Babylon is going down. You know, and this was written over 2,000 years ago. These scriptures. You know? The Lord is a base in this place. And we love it. You know? And you see something. You get the book of Revelation. You see the heading that said the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter. This also comes to mind as well. You see, it says the doom of Babylon. I'm gonna get right to the point. It says this is the book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 16, and it reads, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. If you know anything about the whore is Babylon, the beast is NATO and the EU, and the 10 horns is the EU. You see, and there's gonna come a point in time where the beast shall hate the whore, and we're in that time. You know, EU is having talks of leaving all trades with America and going to join Russia and China and the BRICS rather. You know, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and then there's a plethora of other countries that have joined BRICS as time went on. All you gotta do is look it up. But like it says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Yeah, these EU nations that have nuclear capability, like France, I believe UK. You know, they're going to click up and destroy it, and they're going to shoot their missiles on America. It's not, and it's already been written, so it's bound to happen. You see. It says, verse 17, for the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest in that great city, which reigneth over the kings. Oh, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city. And that great city is talking about America. Which reigneth over the kings of the earth. You see? The different leaders. So, you know, it yeah, so you know, it's a wrap for Babylon. That's basically it. You know, we're in the time where Babylon you can no longer deny that the whore is Babylon. You know, we are in that time where Babylon is receiving judgment from the Heavenly Father. Let me see. And I got another article. This was a few days ago, the 17th, so last Thursday. This is also from RT News. It says, the West as we know it no longer exists. EU's von der Leyen. It says, the bloc must look for new partners as trade tensions with the U.S. increase, the European Commission president has said. You see? So, so as you can see, well, let me just read. The traditional idea of a united West is a thing of the past, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has admitted. In an interview with the German newspaper Die Zeit, published Tuesday, she claimed the EU no longer sees the U.S. as its most important trading partner, after sweeping tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump. It says, the West as we knew it no longer exists, she said. The world has become a globe, also geopolitically, and today our networks of friendship span the globe, as you can see in the debate about tariffs. These are strong words, man. The Revelation, the 17th chapter, is coming to life. The beast is hating the whore. It says her comments come after the Trump administration imposed a sweeping 20% tariff on all EU goods and a 25% tariff on all car imports. The EU responded by introducing its own retaliatory 25% tariffs on U.S. imports. Trump later announced a 90-day pause on most global tariffs pending negotiations with trade partners. Yeah, you see, so these other nations are clapping back. China, South Korea, and Japan just clicked up together to retaliate tariffs on America as well. So all these nations are fed up with America. Let me get a couple more precepts. Matter of fact, this is the book of Revelation, chapter, staying in Revelation. We get the 18th chapter. Let me see. I'll start at, I can start at 9. Actually, no, let me start at 5. Let me just read 5 to 8. And it says, matter of fact, I'll start at 4. At Revelation 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And it says, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. This is what America says. Therefore shall her plague come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord power who judgeth her. You see? And that's what's coming to America. That's the ultimate end goal. And the beginning stages of it is this. These other nations are saying that the West no longer exists. You see, You know, the beast is hating the whore. And this is all self-inflicted wounds of America. You know? Let me read down. Lament for Babylon. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, when they shall bewail her and lament for her, when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city. For in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And you see, it's only going to take 1 hour for the Lord to destroy this place. He's going to do it by the way of thermonuclear and hypersonic missiles, them ICBMs. It only takes them about 20 to 30 minutes to get from one continent to another. So like it says, in 1 hour, all these riches going to come to naught. It says, and the merchants of the city shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. And then it goes on to say the merchandise. And you could read the rest of the chapter. But basically, this goes into the destruction of Babylon. And rightfully so. Because we want to get the hell up out of here, man. You know, the deliverance of Israel cannot come until the destruction of Babylon commences. So we say, come on with it, you know. But it is a beautiful time to be alive. Why? Because we're watching the end of Esau's world and the beginning of ours, you know. So, Lord's will, you was edified. Till next time, I'm going to say shalom to the elect.